The river was calm that morning. A thin mist floated above the water, moving slowly, like it was still dreaming. I stood barefoot on the soft mud, listening to the sound of flowing water and distant birds calling each other from the trees. This is where I decided to build my home. Not a concrete house, not walls of steel, but a traditional bamboo house by the river, just like the old village stories. The village wakes up early, before the sun rises, before the world becomes loud. I could hear the gentle rhythm of a wooden boat touching the shore, and somewhere far away, someone was lighting a clay stove. The smell of smoke mixed with the scent of wet soil. It felt alive. I picked up my knife and walked toward the bamboo forest. Tall green stems swayed above me, whispering softly with the wind. Bamboo is strong, stronger than it looks, flexible but unbreakable, just like the people of this village. I touched one long bamboo pole, measuring it with my hands. This one would become the foundation beam. I cut carefully, each strike slow and controlled. The sound echoed in the quiet morning. Talk, talk, talk. The forest did not resist. It felt like it was offering its gift. I carried the bamboo poles on my shoulder, walking back toward the riverbank. The ground was uneven. My feet sank slightly in the damp soil, but the river kept flowing beside me, like it was guiding me. I marked the four corners of my future home using wooden sticks. This house would stand on raised bamboo pillars because when the river rises in the rainy season, it does not ask for permission. It takes space. So the house must respect the river. I began digging small holes, deep enough to hold the pillars firmly. Sweat slowly formed on my forehead, but I didn't rush. Village life teaches patience. When the first pillar stood upright, I stepped back. It looked simple, just a single bamboo pole in the ground, but it felt powerful, the beginning of something real. Birds flew overhead. The sun climbed higher. By noon, the skeleton of the house began to take shape. Horizontal beams tied tightly with natural rope. No nails, only traditional binding. Each knot pulled firm, each joint checked twice. The wind tested the structure gently, and it held. I paused for a moment, sitting near the river, my hands covered in dust and fiber. The water sparkled under sunlight. A fisherman passed by, smiling quietly. He did not say anything. He only nodded. In villages, words are not always needed. Support is felt, not spoken. I drank cool water from a clay pot, then returned to work. The floor came next. Thin bamboo strips split carefully, laid side by side, weaved together, creating a strong yet flexible surface. When I stepped onto it for the first time, it made a soft creaking sound. Not weakness, just a natural voice. The house was breathing. Afternoon clouds began gathering slowly, gray and heavy. The wind changed direction. I knew rain was coming, but I continued tying the roof frame because once rain starts, the river changes its mood. Thunder rolled across the sky, low, distant, powerful. And then the first drop fell, cold, sharp, followed by another and another. Within seconds, heavy rain poured over the village. I quickly covered the unfinished roof with large banana leaves, holding them in place with rope. Rain soaked my clothes, mud splashed against my legs, but I didn't stop, because this is part of village life. You don't wait for perfect weather. You work with whatever the sky gives you. The rain slowed after an hour. The river looked different now, stronger, darker, more alive. Mist rose again, but thicker this time. I stood under the half-finished roof, watching water drip from bamboo edges. The sound was calming, like thousands of tiny drums playing together. Even unfinished, the house already felt like shelter. Even without walls, it felt safe. Night slowly approached. The sky turned orange, then deep purple. I lit a small lantern. Its warm glow reflected on the bamboo pillars. Shadows danced softly. I sat on the new floor, listening to crickets begin their night song. The village grew quiet. Only the river kept speaking. Tomorrow, I would build the walls. Tomorrow, I would weave bamboo panels tightly. Tomorrow, the house would rise higher. But tonight, I let the river sing me to rest. The air felt cooler. A gentle breeze moved through the open frame, carrying the scent of water and trees. This is not just construction. This is connection between hands and earth, between river and shelter, between old traditions and a new beginning. And as I lay down under the open bamboo frame, looking at the stars through the unfinished roof, I knew this was only the beginning. The real journey of village life is just starting, and the river is still flowing beside me. The night passed slowly. The river never truly sleeps. Even in darkness, I could hear it shifting against the shore, touching stones, moving softly under the moonlight. Before sunrise, I opened my eyes. A thin silver light rested on the bamboo beams above me. The house frame stood quietly, like it had been guarding me all night. Cool morning air brushed against my face. For a moment, I simply listened. Roosters calling from distant huts, leaves rustling gently, water flowing without hurry. Village mornings are never rushed. They unfold slowly, like a story that knows exactly where it is going. I stepped down onto the damp earth. The ground was still soft from yesterday's rain. Mist floated above the river again, thicker than before. Today, I would build the walls, not to block the world out, but to create a space within it. I walked back toward the bamboo grove. The forest felt different after rain, fresh, washed, alive. Droplets clung to the bamboo stems, reflecting tiny pieces of sunlight. I selected thinner bamboo this time, flexible, easy to split, perfect for weaving panels. Each cut was careful, measured, respectful. You never take more than you need. That is the first rule of village life. Carrying the bamboo back, I noticed the river had risen slightly. Not dangerous, just reminding me that it is always in control. I sat cross-legged on the ground. With a small blade, I began splitting the bamboo into long strips, thin, even, smooth. The sound of slicing fiber echoed softly, strip after strip, stacking them beside me. This work requires patience. Hands must move slowly. If you rush, the bamboo cracks. If you force it, it breaks. And if it breaks, you start again. The sun climbed higher. Heat settled over the riverbank. Sweat ran down my back, but my hands continued weaving. Over, under, over, under. A rhythm formed, like breathing, like the river. The first woven panel began taking shape, strong, flexible, beautiful in its simplicity. When I lifted it upright, sunlight filtered through tiny gaps. It looked delicate, but it wasn't. I tied the panel to the frame using natural rope, pulling each knot firm, testing each corner. The structure slowly began to feel enclosed, protected, still open enough for air, but defined. By afternoon, 3 walls stood tall. The river breeze now moved gently through the woven bamboo, creating a soft, whispering sound, as if the house was learning to speak. A small group of children stopped near the riverbank, watching silently, curious. One of them smiled, pointing at the rising structure. I smiled back. No words needed. In villages, building is a shared emotion. Even if hands don't help, eyes do. The final wall needed a small window. Not glass, just an open square frame, facing the river. So I could always see the water, always know its mood. I carefully cut the opening, reinforced the edges, stepped back, and there it was. A view framed by bamboo, the river flowing endlessly. Afternoon clouds began gathering again, but lighter this time. I moved to the roof. Yesterday's temporary banana leaves had done their job, but today the real roofing would begin. Dried palm leaves were stacked nearby, collected from the village outskirts. Lightweight, water-resistant, traditional. I climbed carefully onto the frame, balancing slowly. The first layer of palm leaves spread across the bamboo beams, overlapping carefully, layer by layer, each tied securely. The sky shifted between blue and soft gray. Wind brushed stronger now, testing my balance, testing the roof, but the structure held firm. With every new layer, the house felt heavier, more grounded, more real. As the sun began lowering, golden light covered everything. The river turned bright orange. The bamboo glowed warmly. I climbed down slowly, looking up at the nearly completed roof. It wasn't perfect, some edges uneven, some leaves slightly misaligned, but it was honest work, built by hand, built with patience. I stepped inside. The woven walls cast beautiful shadow patterns on the floor. Wind moved gently through the small window, carrying the scent of water. For the first time, it felt like a home. Not just a structure, but a space with energy, with warmth, with presence. I sat quietly in the center, listening. The bamboo creaked softly as it adjusted to the evening temperature. Tiny sounds, natural sounds, proof that it was alive. The village slowly prepared for night. Smoke rose from distant huts. Someone was cooking rice. The faint aroma drifted toward the river. Birds returned to their nests. The sky darkened. This time I felt ready for the night. The roof strong above me, walls standing steady, the river calm but powerful beside me. I lit the lantern again, placed it near the window. Its glow reflected against woven patterns. I ran my hand along the bamboo wall. Smooth, cool, strong. This house was built from the land around it, from the forest, from the river, from patience, from effort. But village life is more than building. It is about rhythm, connection, respect. Tomorrow I would build a small kitchen space, a clay stove near the back corner, and perhaps a raised bamboo bed. There is still much to do. The house is standing, but it is not yet complete. Outside, the river sound deepened as night fully arrived. The moon reflected on moving water. I lay down on the bamboo floor again, this time beneath a finished roof. The wind no longer touched me directly, but I could still hear it, feel it, through the walls, through the tiny gaps. I closed my eyes, and for the first time, I felt something different. Not just survival, not just construction, but belonging. The house and the river were slowly becoming part of me, and I knew tomorrow would bring new work, new challenges, maybe stronger winds, maybe rising water, maybe unexpected tests. But I was ready, because this is how village life grows. One day at a time, one bamboo pole at a time, one sunrise at a time. And the journey of this riverside home is still far from finished. The river continues to flow, and so does the story. Morning arrived with a different feeling. The air felt heavier, not with rain, but with change. The river was louder today, not angry, but strong, confident, as if it was testing the ground beneath it. I stepped outside the bamboo house. Mist curled above the water like slow-moving smoke. The surface of the river rippled deeper than before. The rainy season was approaching, and this house would soon face its first real challenge. I walked around the structure slowly, checking every knot, every beam, every joint. The pillars stood firm in the damp soil. The woven walls moved gently with the breeze, flexible, not rigid. That is the secret of bamboo. It bends, but it does not break easily. Clouds gathered by afternoon, dark gray, thick. The village atmosphere changed quietly. Fishermen tied their boats tighter. Children ran back toward their homes. Women covered firewood with plastic sheets. Everyone understood the sky. And then the wind arrived, sudden, sharp, carrying dust and leaves with it. Palm trees bent slightly. The river surface grew restless. Waves began tapping harder against the bank. I stood inside the house, listening, watching the woven walls shift softly. The roof leaves fluttered but remained tied. The first heavy raindrop hit the roof, then another, then hundreds. Within seconds, rain poured down like a curtain. The sound was powerful, constant, drumming above my head. Water flowed quickly beneath the raised floor. Mud formed around the pillars. The river began rising, slowly, steadily. The sky flashed with lightning. Thunder cracked across the horizon. For a moment, the entire house shook slightly, not collapsing, just responding, adapting. Bamboo does not fight the storm. It moves with it. I held one of the pillars firmly, feeling its vibration, its strength, its life. The storm lasted for hours, wind pushing from different directions, rain testing every joint, the river swelling closer. But the house remained standing, not perfectly still, but balanced. By midnight, the rain softened, the wind calmed, only a steady drizzle remained. I stepped toward the window opening. The river had risen near the edge of the bank, but it had not reached the house. The raised pillars had done their job, respecting the river instead of challenging it. I felt a deep breath escape my chest, not relief, but gratitude. The bamboo house had survived its first storm. Morning light returned slowly, soft golden rays breaking through clouds. Birds cautiously began singing again. The river looked wider, stronger, but calmer. I stepped outside. The ground was wet, but stable. The house stood tall behind me, palm leaves glistening with water droplets, woven walls drying under the sun. Not damaged, not broken, just tested. A few villagers walked by, stopping briefly, looking at the house, nodding with quiet approval. One elderly man smiled slightly. His eyes said what words did not. "You built it well." I walked back inside. Sunlight streamed through the woven patterns, creating moving shadows on the floor. The air smelled fresh, clean, alive. I began building the final touches. A simple bamboo bed frame, raised slightly above the floor. A small clay stove in the corner, carefully shaped by hand. A wooden shelf for tools. Nothing luxurious, nothing unnecessary, just enough. Because village life is not about excess, it is about balance. By afternoon, the house felt complete. Not because it was perfect, but because it was ready. Ready for sun, ready for rain, ready for rising water, ready for quiet mornings. I sat by the window, looking at the flowing river, thinking about the first day, when it was only an empty riverbank, just mud, mist, and an idea. Now, there stood a traditional bamboo home, built with patience, built with respect, built with rhythm. The river moved endlessly. Seasons would change, storms would come again, water would rise and fall, bamboo would age slowly, leaves on the roof would one day need replacing. Maintenance is part of life. Nothing remains untouched by time, but that is the beauty of it. This house is not meant to fight nature. It is meant to live with it. I lit the clay stove for the first time. Small flames flickered gently. Smoke curled upward, escaping through the open spaces near the roof. Warmth filled the interior, not just from fire, but from effort, from purpose. As the sun began to set, the river turned golden once again, exactly like the first day, but I felt different, stronger, calmer, connected. I stepped outside one last time before night, standing barefoot near the edge of the bank, listening to the flowing water. The house stood quietly behind me, a part of the landscape now, not separate from it. The sky darkened slowly. Stars appeared one by one. I walked back inside, placed the lantern beside the bamboo bed, its glow soft against woven walls, the river's voice steady and deep. I lay down, this time not under an incomplete frame, not wondering if it would survive, but certain, confident, at peace. The journey of building had ended, but village life was only beginning, because a house by the river is not just a shelter, it is a teacher. It teaches patience, respect, strength through flexibility, and harmony with nature. Outside, the river continued to flow, as it always has, as it always will. And inside, the bamboo house breathed quietly in the night, standing strong, standing simple, standing home. The end.